The price of peace and the courage to claim it. Welcome to the Soft Girl Era podcast, where we unlearn survival and rediscover softness. I'm LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. And I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft, and loving every second of it. Today, I had the privilege of sitting down with Telicia Palmer, a woman whose work is quietly revolutionizing how Black professionals, leaders, and entrepreneurs think about mental health, peace, and self preservation. Talicia is not just advocating for wellness, she's creating sacred spaces where Black women and men can finally exhale, set down the cape, and reclaim the power they've been giving away for far too long. Her impact is profound, her mission is urgent, and her message is one we all need to hear. She is building a legacy of healing. One conversation, one conference, one courageous act of self advocacy at a time. And what she's teaching us is nothing short of life changing. So let's talk about peace. Not the kind you post about on Instagram with a sunset and a gratitude caption, not the kind you pin to a vision board and hope shows up someday. I'm talking about the kind of peace that costs you something, the kind that makes people uncomfortable because you're no longer available for their chaos, the kind that requires you to look at your life, really look at it, and ask, what am I carrying that was never mine to hold? Because here's the truth, and I need you to hear this clearly. Prioritizing your peace is not selfish, it's not soft, it's not a luxury reserved for people who have their lives together or trust funds or flexible schedules. Prioritizing your peace is a radical and necessary act of self preservation, especially for Black professionals, leaders, and entrepreneurs who are navigating pressures most people will never understand. And I mean, never. Let me paint you a picture. It's 2025. Hundreds of Black professionals, clinicians, and advocates gather under one roof for the sixth annual Black Mental Wellness Conference. The theme, reclaiming our power and protecting our peace. And what they found when they walked into that space was staggering. Attendees reported high rates of workplace stress, isolation, and barriers to culturally competent care. They were exhausted, they were overwhelmed, and they were tired, so tired of pretending they were fine. But here's what made this conference different: it didn't just talk about the problem, it didn't hand out pamphlets and send people home with vague encouragement to take care of themselves. It gave people tools, real actionable strategies for navigating professional environments while protecting their personal peace. Skill building workshops, direct access to Black mental health professionals who understood their lived experience, peer support that felt like coming home, like finally being seen. And when those participants left, they didn't just leave with a tote bag and a business card, they left with confidence. They left with permission. They left knowing that protecting their peace was not only possible, it was necessary. Over 6 years, this conference has reached thousands of people. It has influenced organizations to adopt more inclusive mental health policies. It has inspired professionals to model peace and self advocacy in their own spheres. And it has become a national platform for education and empowerment because it dared to say what so many of us have been afraid to admit: we are tired and we deserve rest. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but I can't just stop. I have responsibilities. I have people depending on me. I have bills to pay and a reputation to uphold. And I hear you. I really do. But let me ask you this: how much longer can you keep running on empty before you break? How much longer can you keep giving from a well that's been dry for months, maybe years? How much longer can you keep showing up for everyone else while you're falling apart on the inside? Because the thing about peace is that it's not passive. It's not about sitting still and hoping things get better. Peace is an active choice. It's setting boundaries without apology. It's saying no without guilt. It's recognizing that your well being is not negotiable, even when the world tells you it should be, even when your boss tells you it should be, even when your family tells you it should be. And speaking of the world, let's talk about the courage it takes to seek mental health support in the first place. Because for Black families and young adults, that decision is often complicated by stigma, fear of labeling, and racial discrimination. A national survey by the Child Mind Institute revealed something heartbreaking. Nearly half of Black participants reported stigma as a barrier to seeking help. Over a third experienced discrimination from providers. Think about that for a second. You finally work up the courage to ask for help, and the person who's supposed to support you makes you feel worse. The person who's supposed to hold space for your pain dismisses it, minimizes it, or worse, doesn't see you at all. But here's where the story gets good. The Institute's school and community programs brought evidence based mental health care and culturally tailored resources directly into high need Black communities. They didn't wait for people to come to them, they went where the people were. They showed up in schools and community centers in the places where Black families were already gathering. And since 2012, nearly 2.1 million individuals have benefited from improved access to care. That's 2.1 million people who now have a better chance at healing, at peace, at living a life that feels like their own. This initiative became a model for culturally competent care because it understood something fundamental. You cannot heal in a space that doesn't see you. You cannot find peace in a system that was never designed with you in mind. And you cannot thrive when the very act of seeking help feels like a betrayal of your strength. So let me say this clearly, and I need you to hear me. Seeking mental health support is both courageous and empowering. It is not a sign of weakness. It is not something to be ashamed of. It is a declaration that you matter, that your mental health matters, and that you are worthy of care, compassion, and healing. Full stop. Now, I want to talk about something that's deeply personal to many of us in the Black community: faith. Because for so many of us, faith is not just a Sunday morning ritual. It's the foundation of our resilience. It's the thing that has carried us through generations of trauma, oppression, and survival. It's the whisper in the dark that says, keep going. It's the song that rises up when everything else falls apart. And when it comes to mental health, faith can be a powerful source of peace. A 2025 study from the University of Mississippi examined the role of faith in supporting Black Americans' mental health. And what they found was both beautiful and heartbreaking. Those who drew strength from faith and community experienced lower rates of depression and anxiety. But those who had negative spiritual experiences, feeling abandoned by God, questioning their worth in the eyes of their faith, experienced increased distress. Increased, not lessened, not comforted, distress. This study led to recommendations for integrating faith based approaches into mental health care. Because here's the thing: you can't separate a person's spirituality from their mental health. They're woven together intricately, intimately. And when mental health providers honor that, when they create space for faith as a resource for peace, healing becomes possible in ways that traditional therapy alone cannot achieve. This work has influenced mental health training programs to include cultural and spiritual competence. It has empowered Black individuals to embrace faith as a resource for peace without feeling like they have to choose between therapy and their relationship with God. And it has inspired new collaborations between faith leaders and clinicians, creating a holistic approach to mental health that feels authentic, grounded, and deeply healing. So, where does that leave us? What do we do with all of this information? Because I didn't bring you here today just to tell you that life is hard And peace is important. You already know that. You've known that. I brought you here to tell you that change is possible. That peace is within your reach and that you have the power to reclaim it starting right now. Here's what I want you to do this week: set one intentional boundary to protect your peace. Just one. It doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be dramatic. Maybe it's declining an unnecessary meeting. Maybe it's taking a walk alone without your phone. Maybe it's saying no to something that drains you, even if it disappoints someone else. Choose a small but meaningful action and then reflect on how it feels. Sit with it. Notice what shifts. Because here's what I've learned in my own journey, especially as I've stepped into what I lovingly call my golden girl era. Clarity comes when you stop apologizing for taking up space. Peace comes when you stop explaining why you need rest. And joy comes when you finally give yourself permission to be soft in a world that taught you survival. I want you to feel soothed right now. I want you to feel affirmed. I want you to feel like you're wrapped in warmth and understanding, like someone finally gets it, because you are not alone in this. You are not weak for wanting peace. You are not selfish for protecting your energy. You are human, and you are worthy of every ounce of care, compassion, and rest that you've been giving to everyone else. Telicia Palmer reminded me of something during our conversation that I want to leave you with. Building a support system rooted in faith, community, and culturally competent care is essential for sustaining well being and long term success. You cannot do this alone. You were never meant to. And the moment you stop trying to be everything to everyone is the moment you start becoming everything to yourself. So here's my challenge to you: stop waiting for permission, stop waiting for the right time, stop waiting for someone else to tell you that you deserve peace. You do, right now, exactly as you are: messy, tired, overwhelmed, and still standing. You deserve peace. And if no one has told you today, let me be the one. You are doing an incredible job. You are enough. And your peace is not just important, it's sacred, it's holy, it's yours to claim, to guard, to honor. The world will keep demanding, the emails will keep coming, the expectations will keep rising. But your peace, that's non negotiable. That's the line in the sand. That's the boundary you draw with love, with firmness, with the full knowledge that you are worth protecting. So go ahead, take up space, say no, rest without explanation, heal without apology, and step fully, unapologetically into the soft, sacred, powerful life that's been waiting for you all along. Because you are not just surviving anymore. You are reclaiming your power, you are protecting your peace, and you are finally coming home to yourself.